Something massive just shifted in Washington, and most people over 60 have no idea it's happening. The Social Security Administration has quietly confirmed new payment adjustments that could put an extra $1,000, $2,000, or even $3,000 back in your pocket, and whether you qualify depends on details most financial advisors aren't even talking about yet. Here's what's real. Congress has been under enormous pressure to address the growing gap between what retirees were promised and what they're actually receiving. The cost of living adjustment alone hasn't kept pace with what groceries, prescription drugs, and housing actually cost in 2024 and 2025, and lawmakers know it. These new payment structures aren't a rumor. They're tied to specific eligibility windows, income thresholds, and enrollment deadlines that millions of Americans are unknowingly missing right now. If you're currently receiving Social Security, or plan to within the next 5 years, the next 4 minutes could literally be worth thousands of dollars to you. Don't scroll past this, stay right here. So let me start by breaking down exactly what is going on, because there is a lot of noise out there and very little actual clarity. People are sharing headlines, screenshots, and half-truths all over Facebook and YouTube, and the result is that millions of American seniors are either panicking unnecessarily or completely missing out on money they are legally entitled to receive. Today we are cutting through all of that noise together. Let's start with the foundation. Social Security has been the financial backbone of retirement in this country for nearly 90 years. Tens of millions of Americans rely on it every single month to cover their basic needs: rent, utilities, food, medication, and everything in between. But here is the hard truth that Washington doesn't put in big bold letters on any government website. The system has been under serious financial and political pressure for years, and the changes happening right now are some of the most significant adjustments we have seen in decades. That matters directly to your wallet. Now, when people hear numbers like $1,000, $2,000, or $3,000 in additional payments, the immediate reaction is either excitement or skepticism. Both reactions make sense. But what most people don't realize is that these amounts are not pulled from thin air. They reflect real calculations based on back pay, benefit corrections, COLA adjustments that were underapplied, supplemental security income changes, and in some cases entirely new legislative provisions that have been moving through Congress quietly while everyone was focused on other news. This is not one single check arriving at every American's door. It is a range of outcomes tied to individual circumstances, and understanding where you fall in that range is exactly what we are going to figure out together right now. Let's talk about the cost of living adjustment first, because this is where a significant chunk of the money conversation begins. Every year, the Social Security Administration calculates a COLA based on the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers. That is a complicated way of saying they look at how much prices went up and then adjust your benefit accordingly. Sounds fair, right? The problem is that the CPI measurement they use has historically underrepresented the actual inflation experienced by seniors. Older Americans spend a much larger portion of their income on healthcare and housing than younger workers do. And those two categories have inflated at a dramatically faster rate than the general index captures. Advocacy groups and independent economists have been raising this flag for over a decade, and Congress has finally started listening. The push to shift Social Security COLA calculations to the CPI-E, which stands for the Consumer Price Index for the elderly, is gaining real traction. If that change is implemented retroactively, even partially, millions of recipients could be owed back adjustments that translate directly into lump sum payments or permanent monthly increases. Depending on how long you have been receiving benefits and what your current monthly amount looks like, that correction alone could land anywhere between several hundred and several $1,000s. And that brings us to the second major piece of this conversation, which is the Social Security Fairness Act. Now, this is something that directly affected over 3 million Americans, including retired teachers, firefighters, police officers, and other public sector workers. For years, two provisions called the Windfall Elimination Provision and the Government Pension Offset reduced or outright eliminated Social Security benefits for people who also received a pension from a job that didn't pay into Social Security. Think about that for a second. Someone who spent 30 years teaching in a public school, contributing to a state pension, and then also worked jobs on the side or earlier in their career that did pay into Social Security. That person had their earned Social Security benefits cut because of these two provisions. It was a rule that many financial experts and retired workers considered deeply unfair. And after years of legislative attempts, the Social Security Fairness Act was signed into law. The repeal of WEP and GPO means that affected individuals are now entitled to their full Social Security benefits going forward, and in many cases, they are also owed retroactive payments for the months they were shortchanged. For some people, that retroactive amount is over $1,000. For others who were receiving a larger pension and had more Social Security credits built up, that number climbs toward $2,000 or even higher in back pay alone. If you were a public sector employee, or you are the surviving spouse of one, this could be life-changing money that you need to claim proactively by contacting the Social Security Administration directly. Now let's shift to supplemental security income, because SSI recipients are in a completely separate conversation, and they deserve to have their situation addressed clearly. SSI is the program designed for low-income seniors, people with disabilities, and individuals who either didn't accumulate enough work credits to qualify for standard Social Security, or who need additional support on top of what they receive. There have been significant discussions, and in some states, already implemented changes around increasing SSI payment thresholds. The federal benefit rate for SSI has been criticized for years as being far too low to meet basic living costs in most American cities. Advocacy organizations have pushed hard for increases, and certain budget proposals have included provisions to raise the maximum SSI payment substantially. On top of that, many states add their own supplemental payment on top of the federal SSI rate, and in several states those supplemental amounts have been adjusted upward recently. If you are an SSI recipient and you have not reviewed your benefit statement or contacted your local Social Security office in the past 12 months, there is a real possibility that you are not receiving the full amount you are entitled to under updated state and federal rules. Here is something else that does not get talked about enough: Social Security underpayment errors. This sounds almost unbelievable, but the Social Security Administration has publicly acknowledged that payment errors happen, and some of those errors result in beneficiaries receiving less than they should. These underpayments can stem from incorrect earnings records, clerical mistakes during benefit calculations, failure to account for certain types of income that should have been included in your work history, or errors in survivor benefit calculations after a spouse passes away. The Government Accountability Office has issued reports highlighting the scale of these issues, and the SSA has ongoing processes to identify and correct them. The problem is that the burden often falls on the individual to catch the mistake. If your benefit amount has ever seemed lower than expected, if you went through a major life change like a divorce or a spouse's death and your benefits didn't seem to update correctly, or if you worked in multiple states or had complicated employment history, it is absolutely worth requesting a full review of your earnings record through your My Social Security account online or at your local SSA office. People have discovered they were owed thousands in corrected back payments simply by asking the right questions. Let's also talk about delayed retirement credits, because this is a strategy that not enough people understand, and it connects directly to the larger payment amounts we are discussing. If you are between the ages of 62 and 70, and you have not yet claimed your Social Security benefits, every month you wait past your full retirement age actually increases your eventual benefit by a specific percentage. At full retirement age, which for most people reading this is somewhere between 66 and 67 depending on your birth year, your benefit is considered 100%. But if you delay claiming until age 70, you earn delayed retirement credits that can boost your monthly benefit by up to 32% compared to claiming at full retirement age. Now multiply that increase by all the months of your retirement, and you're talking about a dramatically different lifetime payment total. The reason this matters in today's conversation is that many seniors who claimed early during the pandemic years or who were pushed into early retirement by job loss or health issues did so without fully understanding what they were giving up. There are now limited circumstances where you can withdraw a recent claim and refile, or coordinate with a spouse's benefit in ways that significantly change your total household Social Security income. Speaking with a Social Security benefits counselor, many of whom offer free consultations through nonprofit organizations and area agencies on aging, can reveal options you had no idea existed. Now let's address the Medicare and Social Security connection, because these two programs are financially linked in a way that directly affects the net amount landing in your bank account each month. Most Medicare Part B premiums are automatically deducted from your Social Security payment, and when those premiums go up, in which they have in recent years, your net Social Security deposit actually decreases even when your gross benefit went up due to a COLA increase. This is sometimes called the COLA offset effect, and it leaves seniors feeling like they got a raise on paper but nothing changed in their account. However, there is a protection called the hold harmless provision that prevents your net Social Security payment from going below what it was the previous year, specifically because of Medicare premium increases. Not everyone qualifies for this protection automatically, and understanding whether it applies to your situation can make a meaningful difference. Beyond that, there are Medicare savings programs available in every state that help low and moderate income seniors cover their Part B premiums, deductibles, and co-payments. If you are enrolled in both Medicare and Social Security and you are not sure whether you qualify for a Medicare savings program, that is another call worth making because it could effectively put hundreds of dollars a year back in your hands. There is also an extremely important piece of legislation that has been circulating in various forms in Congress around expanding Social Security benefits broadly. Different versions of Social Security expansion bills have proposed increasing the minimum benefit for long-term low-wage workers, raising benefits for widows and widowers, and applying the payroll tax to higher income levels in order to fund benefit increases across the board. While the full version of comprehensive Social Security expansion has not yet passed into law as a complete package, individual elements have moved forward, and others are actively being negotiated. The political will to protect and expand Social Security has never been stronger, and that is not a partisan statement. It is a reflection of the reality that Social Security touches virtually every American family, and no elected official at any level wants to be the person who let it shrink. Staying informed about these legislative developments is not just interesting background knowledge. It is practically valuable because new provisions can create new claiming windows, new eligibility categories, and new retroactive payment opportunities that close quickly if you are not paying attention. Here is the bottom line that ties all of this together. The payments we are talking about are, whether it is $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000, do not appear automatically on your doorstep in most cases. They are the result of either legislative corrections, eligibility changes you need to act on, payment reviews you need to request, or strategic decisions about how and when you claim your benefits. The seniors who end up receiving significantly more from Social Security than their neighbors are almost always the ones who stayed informed, asked questions, and took action. They reviewed their earnings record and caught errors. They found out about the WEP and GPO repeal and filed for their corrected amount. They spoke with a benefits counselor who showed them a spousal coordination strategy they had never considered. They checked their state's SSI supplement rules and discovered they qualified for more. None of these things required a lawyer or a financial planner charging hundreds of dollars an hour. They required knowledge and a few phone calls. The Social Security Administration's main phone number is 1-800-772-1213, and they're available Monday through Friday. The My Social Security online portal at ssa.gov allows you to review your complete earnings history, see your projected benefit at different claiming ages, and manage your account. Your local Social Security office can schedule in-person appointments for more complex situations, and nonprofit organizations like the National Council on Aging operate benefits checkup programs specifically designed to help seniors identify every federal, state, and local benefit they may be entitled to receive. What is happening with Social Security right now is genuinely significant. The combination of the Fairness Act implementation, ongoing COLA reform discussions, SSI updates, underpayment corrections, and broader legislative proposals means that the landscape of what you are entitled to receive may be different today than it was even 6 months ago. And if you have not reviewed your situation recently, you owe it to yourself to do exactly that. Because this is not about politics or rumors or sensational headlines. This is about the money you earned, the contributions you made over a lifetime of work, and making absolutely certain that the system delivers every single dollar it owes you. Stay with me because in just a moment we are going to break down exactly which categories of recipients are most likely to see the largest payment increases and what the specific steps are to find out where you stand.